The absolute insane amount of unnecessary hate constantly being levied towards BO7 Zombies is genuinely starting to get on my nerves. Paradox Junction, we saw a map logo and we're pissed. Like, come on, guys. This accomplishes nothing. Actually, I could genuinely give you 100 different things actually wrong with the game that are worth criticizing to make the game better. And this is not a doom posting video. These are actual genuine critiques that myself and the wider community often share. And this is for Treyarch to see in the community to finally band together around to fight against this relentless, pointless hate. Here's 115 things actually wrong with Black Ops 7 Zombies. First thing you see when you pop into it is the menu. And yeah, main menu looks like multiplayer. Can we at least let it be the Dark Ether or something like that? You should be able to tell at a moment's glance what mode you're actually in. And it really helps set the vibe for what to expect in the game. And the play menu is incredibly cluttered with a bunch of duplicates here, where stuff like Dead Ops Arcade is just completely buried within the menu. Collapse Survival into both Standard and Cursed. Why do these have to be 4 separate modes? It doesn't make sense. We got no music player. That sucks. Again, it was something that was being worked on there with Black Ops 6, and it's still not coming to the game, especially when we have multiple menu tracks that we cannot select from. A lot of people have been wanting loading screens back for years, and we can kind of have them here in the game, but they apply to everything in the game, including every Zombies map and every multiplayer game, and so I just don't want to run them. Speaking of, here on the menu, we got Wonder Weapon skins we can choose from, and why do we not have these carrying forward from the ones we had from Black Ops 6? Like the ones we purchased, and also like the green ray gun one that we earned in the game. And going off that, what happened to these? Why do we not get Wonder Weapon skins as Easter egg rewards here in Black Ops 7 Zombies like we did in BO6? And it's just really frustrating as well when I'm playing the game and having to unlock stuff that I have to go all the way over to the Unlocks Armory menu to apply something to have it start. Because it's like, oh, if you forgot, oh, you just wasted a bunch of XP and you're going to take even longer to go and unlock this stuff. That should just be automatic. And zombie builds, again, like the weapon kits we used to have back in the day, they're so good, but man, they are not very intuitive and they reset after every single prestige. So a lot of fans probably just don't even bother with them in the first place. Now, once we hop into the game here, let's talk about the low rounds. Firstly, we spawn with armor on round 1. It makes the early rounds even easier paired with damage scaling, which we'll get to, but all you gotta do is make it a wall buy. We've got scaling armor there. Why do we have to spawn with this? Like, even Cold War didn't do this. If you want that as something for standard, all right, whatever. At least in Cursed, make it something that you have to actually progress to get. And yeah, let's talk about damage scaling. It just makes those early rounds paired with that armor even more brain dead easy and boring. It's a 5-hit with no armor. And with it, it's even more. The knife itself does insane damage compared to how it used to back in the day. Again, one of those things that makes it even easier on those early rounds, making it not feel like you have to really go and get new weapons and leave the spawn. You spawn them with 3 Gobblegums. Completely unnecessary. I use the machines far less now, which really sucks because I love the Gobblegum system mechanically. And then the other bad part about this is that it makes those low rounds, again, even easier. Spawn rooms in general have become incredibly open in design, and I really wish they would go back to making us feel like we needed to leave the spawn, having a bit more of a cramped spawn room, kind of like Terminus. They were a little bit leaning in that direction, and then they stopped. Ammo prices, no matter the mode, whether you're in Cursed or Standard, are also super cheap. But here's the thing with the ammo box is that it could be really fun, but it's unlocked from round 1. If this was something you had to progress to obtain there, like imagine a side Easter egg that unlocked all the ammo boxes. Like, dude, that would be sick. But it's not just the game we experience when we hop in, it's also the HUD. Firstly, why is everything on by default? When we launch the game, give a pop-up, do you want a minimal HUD or a full HUD? Completely fixes this problem, but if I were to say one way or the other how it should be, everything, in my opinion, should be off by default. Everything should still be in the game because they are basically kind of quality of life accessibility settings. A lot of people do like them, shouldn't be removed, but they should not be on by default because, man, it makes the game look like ass. And this one's indefensible. Why is the Zombies HUD not default in Zombies? You have to go to the HUD menu to go and set it for Zombies. Another one that kind of sucks is that there are no earnable classic HUD themes. Again, something that was kind of leaked there early on, and of course it could still come down the line, but man, wouldn't it be cool if this was a Cursed Easter egg reward? Like imagine if you did every single tier on Cursed, beat the Easter egg, and you got rewarded with a custom HUD theme that's either a classic one or one designed for that Zombies map. And this one I personally despise. The blue armor hits from the zombies on the HUD. Everybody's always talking about, oh, Warzone zombies, and this is one of those little aesthetic things that plays into that and makes people say stuff like that. Honestly, just go with the classic red look like we had in Cold War Zombies, even while having armor. Or hey, if it's there for those newer players to help them know when they're having armor, not having armor, totally get that. Allow some fans to turn it off if they don't like it. Why in Standard though can we not put the points in the bottom left like how it is by default in Cursed? So many people want this change. Please allow this to happen. And here's one that everybody hates, these damn numbers in the bottom corner of the screen. Let us turn it off. It just makes all of the footage of the game look even more cluttered there. And there's still settings there in the customized HUD that carry over between Zombies and multiplayer. Like if you want to turn off the minimap in Standard, yep, it's going to be off in multiplayer too. everything should just be fully separate. Why is there even overlap? In this one, I don't really care about as much, but I know a lot of people really don't like that gun in the bottom right corner. I do think it would look far better if it was just a special stair. It does look pretty clean. But now I want to talk about the field upgrades. First, of course, we spawn with it. We don't have to get it like we did back in the day. One, it's more boring because you don't have that progression and a cool side Easter egg to obtain this, and it makes those early rounds even easier, of course, there as well. And also, why are they just these stupid field upgrade wand ones that we had in 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙢𝙪𝙾 and MWZ and BO6 and again here in BO7? We're in the Dark Ether. Use the Vanguard ones that were actually tied in. The fact that they have not done this, it blows my mind. And the field upgrades themselves are still, again, a lot of the same abilities we had in 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙢. And of course, we're getting some new unique ones, but having that same baseline there, it just, you're just gonna go back to Ether Shroud over and over again, because that's the thing. All of these are available on any map. So there's not really a unique reason to use different ones, just use the best of the best. And why, of course, would you use anything other than Ether Shroud? Because you get 2 of them and it's just an instant get out of jail free card. You need to do damage, you need to get out of the corner, you need to revive a teammate, you need to do anything. It's a catch-all and you get 2 of them. Yeah, that speaks for itself. But now I want to talk on the weapons and also the mystery box. Firstly, map-specific weapons. Can we please get this back? Especially when we're adding so many guns there into the mystery box and the game as a whole, it would be awesome to have certain weapons that were really unique to certain maps. It's one of my favorite parts of Zombies back in the day and what made me want to go and play different maps. And speaking of, you know what could be great for that? The classic legacy guns, which again, we're still not seeing here for months on months. And yes, they are working on it and they have said that this is still coming, but the main problem here is that it is really taking a long time. Thankfully, they are working on it. But what's indefensible is no DLC weapons as wall buys. It just makes the wall buys more boring. Again, makes that problem of no map-specific weapons even more prevalent because you don't have map-specific wall buys. And hey, let's say maybe you want to go hit the box to get a DLC weapon, you might just end up getting a green tool. And you know what? You don't even have any weapons that could be upgraded to that, and it's just completely and utterly useless. The goal of BO7 was to get the slop out of the box. Why is this a feature? And again, talking on the mystery box, I really think that good equipment should be in the box, especially with max ammos now refilling those, meaning we can keep them coming over and over and over again. I think you can keep it there, dropping from the zombies or make it craftable, whatever you want. But also, man, if I spun the box and I got a monkey there or a Gersh device, it would feel so good. It would feel 10 times better than getting a freaking green ether tool again. And of course, this is one I've talked about before. Why are there no wonder weapons in the box of the main maps? It was one of the best things I think BO6 did, the fact that you can get that in the box and also have a quest for it. Yeah, having to do the Wonder Weapon quest every single time, personally, not a fan of that. I like it now and then, but 2 for 2 in this style, not a fan. And while Ashes of the Damned I think is one of the best maps we've had in years, Astra itself actually does have some problems. Firstly, half of the traps end up going away on the map after you've done the Wonder Weapon quest. That kind of sucks. And yeah, you can't just spin for the box and get the Wonder Weapon because, yeah, you just literally can't. And then, of course, we got Oscar, post round 50, who is an absolute nightmare. Instead of lurking around the map, he will chase you at Mach 2000 speed. And so you think, oh, let me just go to Mars. But in order to do that, you gotta do 80% of the Easter egg in order to access like a fourth of the entire map. But then once you get there, you're finally free. Oh, no, Oscar's there. Yeah, after round 50, he just shows up on Mars, so that's cool. And you know what? Even if you do kill him, you got a special equipment that literally does nothing. But getting back into the gameplay side of things, let's talk on the high rounds. First things first, you know I'm gonna get into it, damage scaling. On those later rounds, it is insane to where you pretty much gotta camp. I know there's an argument leading up until round 100 that it might not be that bad. But man, those later rounds where they're doing just insane damage, man, it just makes it not fun. Rather than having camping and training both be viable, damage scaling makes it so that you have to not get hit whatsoever. Just go camp in a corner and go abuse as many mechanics as you can. And you know what? Damage scaling going out through those higher rounds, you might just realize, hey, this game is just kind of not fun when I hit round 31 or I hit past round 50. And it's because, yeah, zombies damage is scaling. Now, there is a queue with a zombie laugh. But yeah, a lot of people still don't even know what that is, and the amount of people I've seen just be like, hey, it just feels like the high rounds just randomly aren't fun, and then it's pointed out that that's what the laugh is supposed to be for, and then they're like, oh, I had no idea, because yeah, there's like very little correlation there with that at all. Again, I actually think Vanguard did a way better job of this, popping up on screen, the world grows stronger. I think Outbreak did it there as well. And also, of course, on those higher rounds, the zombies' hit speed is insane too. So not only do we have super sprinters, they are swiping so unbelievably fast where you pretty much always get a hit from them. And we also got armored zombies, which thankfully don't super sprint, but they do more damage than normal zombies there. So you might be thinking, oh, I'll survive this hit, but nope, oh, it's an armored zombie, yep, you're dead. But maybe the worst thing out of everything is the zombie respawn system, where they will just despawn and respawn 2 feet in front of you. Like, you'll be running for like 5 seconds, having like a bear behind you or something, and then boom, it's right in front of you, just out of nowhere. Like, it just feels manipulative in like not a fun way. That doesn't feel good on the player's end. I know this started back in like Black Ops 4, I believe, and yeah, it's still a bad issue and it sucks. Pretty sure almost nobody likes this change. And one of those things that does help there on those higher rounds are augments, and I do want to talk on these here. And what kind of sucks is the high rounds are a lot more enjoyable when you've got on the right augments. And so without having some of those crutch augments like the ones for Juggernog and Stamina Up, it kind of just makes them miserable for new players. And let's say you're a new player and you accidentally pick the wrong skill tree. Well, yeah, you can't swap them around or anything like that. Gonna have to grind the game some more, guys. And speaking of, with this long extended grind here, why does something like in-game not count towards zombies augments? With all of the zombies rep that's in the game, I only go halfway and make you have to play zombies in order to progress that. It kind of makes me not want to play that. And also, why don't we go all in on that and have more zombies elements there, like stuff like wonder weapons? Like, it's clearly inspired by Outbreak, and I believe it's even labeled as Outbreak there in the files. And why not go all in on it? Just a little side tangent there. But another thing, speaking of, what about Dead Ops? Why does that not count towards zombies augments? But I had played it not too long ago and did some testing thinking that it was going to count, and it gave me literally 0 progress. Even things in zombies don't count towards zombies. Again, hopefully this has changed. But the main thing here is that augments take forever to earn. In order to get all the augments there in BO7 Zombies, you have to play basically 10 full prestiges worth of levels. And that is on top of already having everything maxed out in BO6 Zombies. And that was roughly 50% if I remember correctly, so in reality, it's probably gonna come close to around 20 full prestiges if you're just now hopping into BO7 Zombies. That is complete dog shit. Guys, how are you supposed to get into this game? We don't have like free augment tokens or anything like that. We can't swap them around once we've already earned them. And there are some that will completely make or break your experience there. And for some of those less informed players, how the heck are they supposed to get into this game? And since we're kind of on the topic, I do want to talk a bit more about perks. Firstly, Melee Macchiato. Why is there a quality of life feature we used to have in every other Zombies game as an augment? I need to go open up the map and buy Melee Macchiato to be able to not have to hold down my knife button to pull out my knife. Yeah. And another one that sucks is Wisp Tea, which could have been a really good perk, but is completely fumbled due to one change. It's RNG. All you gotta do is set like a hotkey to where you can set it to where it'll only activate when you press that, to where you can revive yourself once you're out of self-revives, or you wanna do some damage to a boss that popped up, spawn it in, or you wanna hold last zombie, boom, spawn it in. Like, oh my gosh, it could be so much better, but just, they didn't do it. And some of the augments here are completely useless, like Deadshot, reducing your weapon movement, like, okay, literally never touching this. And the mystery box settles faster when they introduced a feature in this game where you can just punch the box to get rid of the gun. Like, it's actually useless. And talking about another perk that's just straight up bad, Death Perception, it is pretty much damn near useless. And going even further into that, there's no curse counterpart for some of those augments, like Bird's Eye View, which is legitimately useless. There is 0 purpose to that. It is actively doing nothing. The minimap is disabled. And honestly, the only thing worse than Death Perception is not subscribing to Nova Being 2, baby. If you like talking the good and bad of COD Zombies and having reasonable discussions here, feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you here. We're on the road to 10K, guys. We're almost there. And now that we've talked a lot on the core gameplay, let's talk on some game modes. First, survival. Guys, why can we not use some of the old wonder weapons from BO6? They would fit perfectly on some of these maps, of course, like the jet gun and the Wonder Waff, as I've talked on before, and it would be one of those ways to really help differentiate some of those maps from each other, where you could replace the Gauntlet, or it could be an addition to it. And so instead of all of those Ashes survival maps playing pretty much the same, it can be one of those things to make them feel separate and special. And something that really gets on my nerves is, why are there no more new doors added for progression? After Farm, the first map, set that precedent to the point where Mars literally has 0. It's like one of the only maps ever to have 0 doors. Like, there's less doors on that map than Bus Depot in BO2. And why do we not have perks on the maps themselves? I just hate that there's just the Wonder Fizz is a catch-all, just throw it everywhere. And then we lose some of that personality that going to the machines actually had. Like, even you could just make it a cursed only thing, because again, it would add more challenge where you gotta buy from all 4 perk machines to spawn in the Wonder Fizz. And you know what? It's one of those things that could separate all the maps, make them all feel special, having their own locations with their own perks on every single one. make them all different. Another one I would love to see would be more power switches just simply plopped onto the maps instead of it only being on farm. I really thought that this was going to be something where, hey, maybe some of them would, some of them wouldn't, instead of it just being farm is basically going to be the only one that has that. And another little thing that would really help make things feel separate would be maybe having some more unique round stings from the older maps. The classic one on the transit-inspired locations, or the Ascension round change on the one that looks like Ascension. And also, why do we have mini-boss spam back on Mars? Like, wasn't that one of the main things that they said they were doing here in this game, is to counter the mini-boss spam? Like, I swear that they said that this was an active thing that they were doing, and it felt great on the two main maps. And all those survival maps there as well, but then this one is just like, okay, there's a million Uberklaus. And of course, the drip feed. If we're not gonna do anything new with these survival maps here from Ashes, why did we not just have them there at launch like we did with BO2 on Transit? If you're gonna take your time with them, that is totally fine, but if you are, you gotta give us something new. But aside from that, let's talk on Cursed. What is that? What is that? Is that an elephant in the room? What the? I guess we should talk about that. Yeah, you guys already know, no new DLC guns are added into the game, not just Cursed, but the game as a whole, over a month after they were added. Man, this just makes it feel like there's no content. And it's way too long, and it just feels scummy. Just purely anti-consumer, and it honestly does make it feel like I'm punished for playing Cursed mode and enjoying the experience I prefer. Also, it does kind of suck that certain weapons are just completely always inaccessible there in Cursed, like the two melee weapons, especially something like the ballistic knife that has its special effect there on it of reviving your teammates. They could easily be a wall buy on the map, or maybe something like the ballistic knife with it being really special, have that be the only melee weapon there in the box. And of course, we got Akita, best gun in the entire game there on the wall on every single map, aside from a few survival maps. If it's that good, all you gotta do, make it a box only gun, so it feels super exciting when you spin the box and you get it, instead of just immediately getting a shotgun as fast as possible and just continuing to use that, just like literally every other modern Zombies game. Also, a lot of people do not like the Pack-a-Punch prices being this high. Personally, I think it's a bit more nuanced than that, but I honestly wouldn't be that upset with them kind of nerfing these. Of course, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I love the idea of maybe bringing back the classic PAP animation, allowing you to do it at half price. How come when we do the Curse Easter eggs to get those pack camos, we can't just do one game at tier 3? We have to do one on tier 3, then tier 2, then tier 1. Like, if we do it at tier 3, we could do it on all of them. Like, why do we have to keep doing that? And the 4-player limit, a lot of people are not a fan of how the perks dropped on the ground don't count, but everything else does. Now, I don't really care about it that much, but I do feel like it is confusing and it is just an odd exception. Also, what is the point in Cursed having tier 4 Pack-a-Punch ultra weapon rarity to only just increase the zombies' health cap from 50,000 to 100,000? So it's just a placebo effect that you're gonna be accessing something that's gonna be way better at killing these zombies. Like, it only helps you if you get it way earlier on in your game. And so, yeah, I don't know, it's just a really odd decision. I feel like it's completely counterintuitive to the entire idea behind that. And if they're gonna even do that, why not just go all in and just get rid of the health cap? Like, why do this odd middle ground? I don't know, I'm not a fan of that. Also, we are in desperate need of tier 4 and tier 5 Cursed rewards. Like, again, as somebody who has all of them, I just really wish I had more incentive to run even more, because I love how the game feels with more challenge there. And maybe there could be some cool rewards like no damage scaling, or like a cap on damage scaling. Another thing with Cursed, there's no LTM support. That just sucks. Again, it might not work with everything, but man, even something as simple as like Jingle Hells being like a reskin of the map, well, why can we not play that in Cursed? And of course, one of the biggest ones there, there's no public matches. There's no excuse for this. It's one of the biggest deterrents from people even hopping into the mode in the first place. Whether you like it or you don't, there should be an option there. And hey, maybe, yeah, those relics might make it a bit more confusing. And even though you could do some sort of voting system, at least give players a base Cursed public match option where you play with no relics, tier 1, you get the first few relics, and you get to play with those base systems. It's honestly that easy. Maybe not perfect, but that is a solution. Now, speaking of relics, let's talk on those. First, you gotta do the Easter egg before even being able to unlock these relics in the first place. And this kind of just acts as more of a barrier for old fans who would want to kind of play with some of those classic gameplay systems that are there, of like no ammo boxes, 4 perk limits, stuff like that. But in order to do that, they gotta grind the game first. And here's the thing, a lot of people just don't like doing Easter eggs. And I get that they want to get the player numbers up on those, but forcing that to access core gameplay mechanics, I'm not necessarily sure that's the right way to go. I think the cosmetic rewards are a way better option. And something that really sucks, I think almost everybody is in agreement on, the round requirements kind of suck, and they're just incredibly annoying, with especially round 60, having to play like an over 2-hour game to do a super simple challenge there. It's not really hard, it's just annoying, tedious, and time consuming. I honestly think it would be best if there was just literally no limit on these, and it's just the challenge factor is, if you want to get the highest ones, you got to be on tier 2 Cursed or more. You're already putting challenge modifiers there. And if you're good enough to do these challenges there earlier on in your game, I say let the player do it, reward them for that. Or if we want to keep it there, all you got to do, lower it down to 20, 30, and 40 rather than 20, 40, and 60. And what also kind of makes that problem even worse is that a lot of relics just reset there once you save and quit and are completely inaccessible. So yeah, it just makes that problem even worse. And some of the relics design is just, it doesn't make sense. Like the Mimic one being a tier 1 relic, but it's one of the most obnoxious and most annoying ones in the entire game. There's no reason to run it. It gives you barely any reward, and it's just not fun. It's like, the balancing doesn't make sense. And also, getting some of these relics is a complete disaster because it just doesn't make sense, or it's just annoying, relying on RNG, like, of course, the knife kill there on Oscar. Just flat, they should change that. It's just not good. And another thing here, why can we not have a no armor relic? What they said as to why we don't have it is because you really need armor. It's super integral to this game. It's gonna be hard, you gotta have armor in there. But we can have a zombies do double damage augment. So what is that logic? What is the logic there? I don't understand. And also, why can we not have a relic there to disable rarities? Same thing with disabling crafting and also disabling the armory. And also, can we please have a relic for the random Wonder Fizz? Hey, maybe those are coming down the line, but man, we need them sooner rather than later. And now I want to talk a bit on the look and sound of zombies. Again, these are little things, but they're little things that add up. Firstly, why do we gotta go and change an accessibility setting to make the game look good? Why is it so grayscale, desaturated when we first hop into it and we have to turn on a colorblind filter? All the ground loot kind of clutters up the atmosphere, and a lot of it isn't even necessary to be on the ground, especially with salvage now being client side. Why doesn't it not just auto place into your inventory? Kind of like the points do. And of course, armor plates, it just, with us being in the Dark Aether, why are they armor plates? It just doesn't fit. It doesn't have to be an ether plate like I've talked on in the past, but just something that fits zombies. It might be something in the line of the Dark Aether or something that just fits that world a bit more. I remember I saw one guy a while ago suggest like some sort of adrenaline injector instead of armor. It's like, that would be sick. Or of course, like consuming some sort of like Dark Aether essence, kind of like if you remember Reckoning, I think you had like a ball that you held up for one of the Easter egg steps, like something like that. That would be so good. And another thing that doesn't fit, score streaks. Why can we not have a bit more zombification? I mean, they have a little bit here in this game compared to the earlier ones, but man, still, we got ones that are so easy and stuff that you can just use stuff from the past. The wraps that we have in zombies, literally they reskin those as an enemy for Shadows of Evil. Why can we not just use that model there and make them the mini meatballs? Like, some of these are so easy. And also, I think it would be great to just bring barriers back into the game, especially if we were to make some of those decisions to make the earlier rounds harder. Like if we were to get rid of armor or up the damage scaling. I think that would be a good middle ground to allow people to have a little bit of leeway and bringing back some of that vibe, of course, there for zombies. But hey, maybe give people the option to get rid of them. If they turn on the Rampage Inducer, it just completely removes them. Boom, there's a solution. And here's one I personally really feel strongly about. I wish we had more score for the music of the maps, for the map locations themselves, not just Easter egg steps. Where nowadays, so much of the soundtrack is there for the quest in certain moments there during that. Where I think the music is at its best is when a majority of those songs are dedicated to just the casual gameplay of the map. Certain locations there, stuff like Mob of the Dead, Buried, Origins, you're walking through it, and you can hear the music that would play in every single section in your head when you see an image of it. Now that is zombies. And the last thing here, why is there no fire sale song? I get it. If the last one, there's some copyright issues, it is what it is. Can we do a new one? Why is it just ticks and like it's just nothing? But for the last stretch here, I want to talk a bit more generally. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead, hop right into things. Score streaks. They are so easy to use and have very little skill, unlike the death machine like we had back in the day, where there was a time limit on it, you had to wait for it to drop, and there was no invincibility with it, unlike a lot of the streaks we have here currently. And I gotta say as well, speaking of those invincibility frames, get out of jail free cards. We've always had them in zombies. Again, thinking back to something as far back as the Thunder Gun. But now we have so many that it's incredibly hard to die early on in your game. Think about this. You have a score streak that gives you invincibility frames. You have 2 to 3 decoys you can just spawn and instantly distract the zombies. You can spawn with these in standard. You can have 2 Ether Shroud uses. You can hold a anywhere but here in plain sight and a shields up all at the same time. You've got augments like reactive armor on Juggernog that can replenish with however many armor plates you have, and you can just straight up just jump out of the corner. No wonder the zombie speeds and damage scaling and stuff like that gets so crazy there in order to combat all of these things. But having access to so many of these at once just makes those early rounds, again, that much more boring. And here's one that really bothers me. Rarity and Pack-a-Punch, they do the same thing. It's just damage. Although Pack-a-Punch can give special effects, but I think it would be much better if these were separate. Where Pack-a-Punch would give you a special effect and up the damage that your gun does, where Rarity maybe is tied to something else like ammo. Why do they have the same use? It just makes it feel monotonous upgrading your gun. And also, again, I'm not a big fan that every single piece of equipment and every score streak are available on every map. It makes them feel far less most unique. And there's just so much out-of-game progression here again with the augment system that once you've unlocked so many of them, yeah, you got stuff to play around with in the game, but now there's less things to go for, and it ends up having a negative effect there later down the line, when these could be things you earn each and every game. Again, maybe Vanguard didn't do it perfectly, but something in that vein could have been really, really good. TED Task. They are the easiest thing ever and give you insane rewards. Like, what do you mean? Dude, the challenge is kill zombies. Okay, dude. And most you can actually legitimately complete in less than 5 seconds after they're activated. We got Ravagers here so far on every single map, every survival map, and every main map here. I'm already sick of them. And speaking of that, we got a repetition of more BO6 enemies, like the Mimics and Uberklaus and the Doppelgast as well. Now, I think they're done way better than they did in BO6 here in this game, but man, it would be cool to give them a different look or something to just separate them a little bit more. And you know what, though? We can get that for an LTM that ends up going away after a few weeks instead of it being on an actual main map that'll stay around forever. Speaking of LTMs, yeah, basically that. They go away after a few weeks, and then they aren't ever playable in the future in custom games. Just a complete waste of resources. I wish we also had an actual reward for exfilling in this game. I pretty much never do them, even though they can be fun, but it's like, just whimsicals ain't it. And speaking of, I just kind of hate that I have to grind for whimsicals. They should just legitimately be an infinite use gobblegum. I honestly see no point in doing this. And speaking of the whimsicals, Slay List is only instrumentals. No vocals whatsoever, completely kills us gobblegum. And here's something that really bugs me. Why is the random crew option not the default there for new players hopping into the game? Again, it just plays into that problem of hopping into a public match and all the other teammates being these random multiplayer operators. If you want to do it, cool, go do it. People should be encouraged to play as the Zombies crew, and the game should aid in that. Because yeah, this does affect other players, because there's crew quotes that only play if you're playing crew operators. And a big problem a lot of people have with this game is very few side Easter eggs give actual useful, unique rewards. They are here, but yeah, it's still not as much as we used to have back in the day. And I gotta say, why are the directed unlocks for doing the Easter egg way better than the actual standard? Because that's easier and you get a way cooler cosmetic. And also, why is directed mode not even accurate to the actual Easter egg? Like, why are they changing steps? Is that not the point to help people teach them the Easter eggs? Like, do you not think new players are gonna go hop in and be like, oh, this isn't what I learned in directed mode? And you know what? When I boot up the game in the first place, I don't want ads shoved in my face. I want to hop on zombies and get into zombies. I don't care about the battle pass or some event here. Let me play the game. Or give me the option to turn it off. It also sucks that the shop is overtaking content that should just be earnable in a $70 game, like those Wonder Weapon skins that would fit perfectly as an Easter egg reward. Got events that reward cheaters and are constantly broken and that punish actual genuine players here. We have absolutely got to fix the fact that Easter eggs can be data mined so easily here, or else the Easter egg hunt is done. Where is the communication? We just got to get at least some reasoning, some insight, like a "we hear you" or anything there on so many of these problems that keep popping up over and over and over again, rather than sweeping things under the rug. Why is it so many gigabytes for downloading just zombies? It is literally over 100 gigabytes for just zombies on my console. The amount of comments I've seen, hey, I want to try zombies, but I don't have the space for it. Something has to be done here. And also, we gotta do away with the 15-minute pause timer. It sucks. Back in the day, we had infinite pause timer there forever. And I'm pretty sure even in Vanguard Zombies, we had it at least for 2 hours. And man, online only. Why can I lag or be disconnected in a solo match and I cannot play offline whatsoever? There it is, 115 things wrong with BO7. And with all that said, this is not to hate on the game. I love zombies and I've been playing since the inception of the mode, but I want it to be better. Some of these are small, some of these are big, some you may agree with, some you may not. But the point here is that I'm trying to make is that there's so much more that we could actually fight for and actually critique here with the game that has reasoning behind it and actionable feedback for the devs to take into account and make the game better for everyone rather than just blind hate. This said blind hatred and quote-unquote grifting does nothing but make things worse for players and the devs, and is oftentimes, I'd argue, worse than most of the things going on with the game itself. If you're gonna criticize or complain, do it for something worthwhile. That is the point of this video. And if there's any devs watching, that's the other reason for this. Not all of these have to happen. Not all of these are objective, although some of them definitely need to be fixed. But they are perspectives that I and a large part of this community share, and are absolutely worth consideration at the very least. Zombies has so much potential, and BO7 is truly a fantastic game already. But I do believe, deep down, that things can and should be better. But hey, that's just my opinion. Do you agree or do you disagree? And is there anything I missed? Let me know down in the comments. And after this, if you want something a bit more fun, check out the last video where me and a special guest hopped in to rank every single weapon in COD Zombies history based on vibes only. And yeah, that's about it for me. See ya.